The night was cold, dry, and lonely, like the heart of the woman who staggered down the muddy main street of Dust Creek. Her dress, once white and neat, now hung heavy and brown with dirt. Her shoes were worn to their stitching. Each step echoed with the bitter truth she carried. She was penniless, deep in debt, and despised by nearly everyone who knew her. "They called me a burden," she whispered to herself, wrapping her torn shawl tighter around her shoulders. A burden not worth saving. The townsfolk had seen her stumble past the saloon windows, past the general store where the lamps still burned. Whispers followed her like rattlesnakes in the brush. "That's Clara Holt," one man muttered. "The widow who couldn't pay her husband's debts. Her farm's gone, livestock gone, she's got nothing left," said another. "Oughta just leave town before she drags anyone else down." But Clara couldn't leave. She had nowhere to go. Her husband had died with gambling debts thick as canyon shadows, and every creditor in town circled her like vultures. The bank had taken the farm. The store refused her credit. She slept in the abandoned livery stable on the edge of town, cold wind cutting through the holes in the roof. Still, she refused to give up. Some part of her, a small, desperate flame, clung to hope that not all men in Dust Creek were as cruel as their whispers. That hope nearly died the night she saw him. It was in the saloon, when she had stumbled inside just to get out of the wind. Her eyes met his, sharp blue beneath the brim of a black Stetson. He stood taller than the rest, shoulders broad from years of ranch work, boots polished but dusty from the trail. He didn't laugh when he saw her. He didn't sneer. He just looked, long enough for her heart to twist with fear and wonder. Clara turned to leave, but the barkeep cut her off. "No drink for you, Clara. Can't pay, can't stay." The room chuckled. A card player muttered, "Burden woman oughta learn her place." Her face burned hot, her hands trembling. She tried to speak, but shame drowned her tongue. Then, boots thudded against the wooden floor. "Let her be." The voice was deep, commanding. The room went silent. Clara turned. It was him, the cowboy with the blue eyes. His jaw was set, and the silver on his revolver glinted under the lamplight. "Mr. Dalton," the barkeep stammered, "she's got no money." "Did I ask about her money?" He cut in. Silence fell heavier than stone. Clara's chest rose and fell. She whispered, "Why defend me? You don't even know me." The cowboy tipped his hat. "Name's Colt Dalton, and I know enough to see when good folks are treated worse than dogs." But Clara wasn't sure she was good. Not anymore. Not after everything she'd lost. The next day, she tried to avoid him, tried to fade into the edges of town as usual. But Colt Dalton didn't let her. She found him waiting outside the livery stable, a bundle in his hand. "Take this." It was food, bread, jerky, and a flask of water. Clara shook her head. "I don't take charity." He studied her, his gaze sharp as barbed wire. "Pride don't feed the belly, ma'am. You want to live or not." Her hands trembled as she took it. And so it began. Every day, Colt found her, sometimes with food, sometimes with wood for her fire, sometimes with nothing but his quiet company. He asked nothing in return. And yet Clara's heart twisted tighter with each kindness. She didn't deserve this. She was a burden, a woman dragging debt like chains through the dirt. But Colt saw something different. One afternoon, as they sat by the riverbank, he said, "Your husband's debts ain't yours to carry." Clara flinched. "They all say it is. The bank, the townsfolk. They spit the word burden like it's my name." Colt leaned closer. His voice dropped low. "They don't know what I know." "What do you know?" She whispered. "That you've got more grit than all of Dust Creek. A woman who survives this long, alone, ain't weak. She's stronger than most men I've met." Her throat closed. She looked away, afraid he'd see the tears building. But Colt had already seen them. And still, he didn't turn from her. Days passed, and whispers grew. The town didn't like that the richest cowboy in Dust Creek, the man who owned more land than anyone, was seen with Clara Holt, the burden widow. Some said she was using him. Others said he was a fool. Clara believed the first. Then came the night everything changed. It was at the town meeting, when the sheriff read aloud a notice. Clara Holt's remaining debt would be auctioned off. Whoever bought it would hold claim to her, her labor, her life, until it was paid. The crowd buzzed with ugly excitement. Men smirked, whispering what they'd make her do. Clara's blood ran cold. She wanted to run, but her legs failed her. "Start and bid, $20, the sheriff called. Hands shot up. 30, 50. Clara's head spun. This was it. Her life sold to the highest bidder. Then a voice cut through the chaos. 1,000. The crowd gasped. Clara's heart stopped. Slowly, she turned. Colt Dalton stood at the back of the room, hat in hand, eyes steady on her. $1,000, he repeated. The sheriff's jaw dropped. That's more than her debt. I'll take it all, Colt said. And just like that, the hammer fell. Clara was his. The room erupted in whispers. Some called him mad. Others cursed under their breath. But Colt didn't hear them. His boots struck the floorboards as he walked to her, steady as thunder rolling across the plains. Clara's lips parted, but no words came. He held out a folded piece of paper, the deed to land. My land, Colt said. Yours now. Her eyes went wide. What? No. I can't take this. You're no burden, he said firmly. You're a woman who deserves a future. And I'm giving you mine. Her knees buckled. The room spun. For so long, she had been called worthless, debt, burden. And now a man was handing her the very earth beneath his boots. But Colt wasn't just giving her land. He was giving her dignity. Her voice cracked as she whispered, why me? He looked at her, and for the first time, Clara saw something in his eyes softer than steel. Because when I look at you, I don't see debt. I see the woman I've been waiting for all my life. The crowd gasped, laughed, cursed. But Clara didn't hear them. Her heart thundered louder than the world. She should have pushed him away. She should have said no. But instead, she reached for his hand, her cold, scarred fingers trembling in his. And in that moment, Dust Creek learned the truth. The widow they called a burden was now the bride of the richest cowboy in town. Yet her story didn't end there. The land Colt gave her wasn't just soil and grass. It was a promise. Together, they built a small cabin, one board at a time. Together, they planted seed, raised cattle, worked until sweat stained their clothes. And with every sunrise, Clara grew stronger. She was no longer the woman shunned and broken. She was Clara Dalton, the woman who turned scorn into survival, and survival into love. Sometimes, at night, she still heard the whispers of the town in her head. Burden. Worthless. Debt. But then she felt Colt's arm around her, steady and warm. She looked out over the land stretching wide beneath the stars, the land that was hers now. And she smiled. Because the only whisper that mattered was the one Colt had spoken that night, the whisper she carried forever in her heart. You're not a burden. You're my future. And for the first time in her life, Clara Holt believed it.